What sort of assessment promotes learning? A definition of assessment for learning is a conscious attempt to make assessment a productive part of the learning process as to what should be happening in a classroom to count as real formative assessment. However, as you know, teachers hold different views about what counts. My presentation examines the debate around formative and summative. We'll examine the problematic relationship between yeah, I'm doing the presentation. Can I call you back? Okay, no. Sorry. Next, I will examine. You have a question?
So, what are some of the negative aspects of summative assessment?
I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting a question. I don't know. And my presentation today is on what sort of assessment promotes learning. The presentation will be approximately 10 minutes long, and feel free to ask questions at the end. So I'll start with a definition. Well, I chose Stobart's definition of assessment for learning because it highlights how teachers consciously use assessment to improve learning. Assessment for learning provides a really clear framework for what happens within the classroom to promote formative assessment. Now, there are different views on formative assessment, and there's a very strong view that summative assessment, so an assessment at the end of a topic, for example, is basically the same thing as long as it is used then to planning for future learning. So during the presentation, I'll be going through three main areas. So the first one is looking at what is assessment for learning. We'll be looking at that via the 4 principles of assessment for learning and what they mean for teachers and their planning and the planning of the tasks in the classroom and how that promotes good learning. Secondly, we'll look at the relationship between assessment for learning and summative assessment. Now, there are lots of kind of negative aspects to summative assessment, which I'm sure you can think of, and I'll be explaining some of those in some detail, but also I'll be looking at how summative assessment can be used in a positive way. And I'll be looking at that through Williams' cycles of assessment. So if it's used through this, then summative assessment can be very positive, and I'll come back to this later. And then finally, we shall look at the fact that assessment for learning does have some problems, and one of the main issues with it is implementing it within the classroom. So we'll be looking at the need for training with assessment for learning to ensure that it's done effectively. So by the end of the presentation, I hope that you'll be able to agree with me that assessment for learning can be a fantastic tool to use in the classroom to promote learning, as long as teachers are advocates.